Welcome to another test drive here on Inside Sim Racing. I'm Darren Ganji, and you might have noticed by the subject, I am doing a test drive of the new BMW Z4 GT3 car, or as our friends across the pond call it, the Z4. And first of all, before I get going, I'd like to thank iRacing for giving me the opportunity to drive this car and show you guys what it's like before it's released. And yes, I have permission. The guys at iRacing are allowing me to do this. So for those of you that were concerned that I'm breaking some rules here, I'm not. They're letting me drive. This is, again, the alpha version of the BMW Z4 GT3 car. It's going to be released fairly soon and then be part of the GT3 series in iRacing with the Porsche roof and the McLaren. So if you haven't checked it out yet, there's a full how they built this car in iRacing on iRacing TV that was just released within the last few days. If you haven't checked it out, you should. It's a really cool episode on everything that went into this car and how they captured the sound, the data, everything. So basically how they built this car from the ground up. And it's really cool. So I'll have a link to it in the description if you haven't checked it out. I'm not going to go into the specifics of this car because I was on the iRacing forums after the release of that show, and a lot of guys were talking about, well, which car is it going to be? Which sounds are it from? Is it from the GT3 car in Europe, or is it from the GT, I think it's GTE, here in the States that's running in the Tudor series? I'm assuming this is more along the GT3 car because that's what it's called. I saw some specs, or some of you guys talking about in the forums, that the GTE car only revs to about 7,800, where this one revs to about 9 grand, and this one revs to about 9 grand. So a little bit more about the car, at least what I could find about it. It's a 4.4 liter V8, and man, this car screams. I really like the sound of this car, and I'm going to show it to you here. I'm going to test drive on 2 tracks. Figured I'd pick one track from the European GT3 series and one track from the Tudor series. And I'm at Circuit Zolder here. And I got to tell you, I'm not an expert at Zolder, but just starting to get the hang of it. And man, this track is a lot of fun. So actually, before I get that, some specs on my system. Running a AMD 6-core, and I know it's not the greatest processor, at 3.5 gigahertz, hoping to get an Intel i5 here soon. But I have a NVidia GTX 780 Ti that I'm running almost full graphics and triple screens. I'm running at 120 hertz on my monitors, and I've got just about everything turned on, and man, I'm able to maintain over a couple hundred frames per second. I'm not seeing any slowdown or glitching or any kind of framey issue. So, man, it's running smooth as silk, and I couldn't be happier with the performance of that thing. 16 gigs of Vengeance RAM. That's enough about the PC. 3 ASUS 22-inch monitors, again running at 120 hertz. Run my TX Thrustmaster racing wheel with the GTE rim. Going to be paddle shifting for this. SimInstruments dash. Also running Sim Vibe by SimXperience with 2 transducers, one under my feet and one under my bottom. And before I get to the car, I'm going to do a little more driving and a little less talking as soon as I start driving. But man, Sim Vibe's really kicking on this car, and I like it a lot. So a little bit more. I've got 2 Derek Speare button boxes and some modified Thrustmaster pedals. My TH8 RS shifter is not going to be in use today, so let's fire this thing up. Again, I'm at Circuit Zolder. And I'm just going to run 1 out lap and 1 flying lap, and then I'm going to head to Daytona. So let's start with my out lap. First thing you notice is how the brakes are squealing when they're cold. Or one of the first things you notice. Oh, by the way, I turned traction control and ABS down as low as I could, basically setting 1 on this car, just so I can get a feel for what it's like. And again, oh, and I also took out some fuel for Zolder. That was about it. For Daytona, I lowered the rear wing, did a little bit of a tire adjustment, but that's about it. Actually, I was been revving it to about 8,600. As trying to go to 9 grand just seems like it starts to run out of power a little bit. Cool little sound right here going over this. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the tires make a different sound over that particular part of the track, or rumple strip, I should say. Love it over this crest right here. You can feel it in the wheel, feel it in the in sim vibe. Gotta say, out of all the GT3 cars that iRacing's got now, this one included, or the ones that are going to run in their series, I think I like this one the best. I love the roof, love the McLaren, but I really like this car a lot. It really seems planted. Again, don't look for any blistering hot laps here at Zolder. I'm just really getting the hang of it. Fun track, by the way, man. These two chicanes right here are tough, man. You really got to brake for them. Love the feel of the car as it goes over those rumple strips too. Here comes that rumple strip that makes that cool sound. Got to go over it. This chicane is like one of the few with 3 corners, and probably the slowest chicane, and almost one of the slowest chicanes in all of racing, which leads into this wide open right-hander, wide open left-hander over that crest I was talking about. You can hear the car kind of get light there, which is really cool. Lots of slow corners at this track. Tried to start to get too much on the rev limit there. You can hear it kind of just floating out there. I just ran a mid 133. Optimal's a 133.4. I know that I can definitely get a lot more out of it. So there's a little bit at Zolder, the European track that's on the GT3 series. Like I said, I figure I'd pick one from the European GT3 and one from the American Tudor series. So now I'm going to head to Daytona Road Course, the night version. Make sure I save my replay here so I can get you guys some good footage. And gonna boot up Daytona here. All right, so while I'm waiting for Daytona to boot up here, I wanted to run at Circuit of the Americas, but it's not going to be ready for about another week or so. And then I'm going to do another test drive at Circuit of the Americas as soon as that becomes available. So I love Daytona, though, so I have no problems running here. Like I said, I tweaked the setup just a little bit. And I just took the rear wing down to 2 degrees. And just dropped the air pressures a little bit. ABS setting to 1, traction control to 1, throttle shaping settings to 1, and then my engine map settings at 1, which is full power. So now if I forget to mention, get going here, I'm going to run 1 out lap like I said, and one flying lap. Love that brake squeal on cold brakes. If I forget to mention, top speed it seems on this car is about 165. With the way I've got the rear wing set up. It doesn't seem like it's going to get, and I changed the gearing to tall for Daytona. I believe my best lap earlier was a 146, flat out through the kink here, no problem, even on cold tires. Set the gearing to tall, like I mentioned. I think there was just 2 settings. Standard, I believe, was 1, and then tall. But it just seems to kind of peter out at about 8,600. As you're coming past the front straight, or the start-finish line, I should say. I think I'm going to be quiet for my flying lap, just so you guys can listen to the car. Braking just past the 2 here. Down into 3rd. Let's also give you guys an idea how this is going to compare to the McLaren and roof. I'm no alien. My best was a 146.6 earlier. See if I can get close to that here. I'm going to just be quiet for this lap now. Feel every bump through Sim Vibe. I know I said I was going to be quiet. This is an easy part of the track here. 162, 63, 64, 65 as I came down into the braking zone. Only ran a 148.1 there, but anyway, there you have it. Actually, I think I'm going to roll raw replay from the external cam so you guys can hear this car from the exterior. Actually, let me mute that really quick so you can hear me. Going out here, I'll run my hot lap there, well, my faster lap. Definitely, like I said, I got more. I ran a 146.6 earlier, and I'm sure there's a lot more left on the table there. I haven't really adjusted this car. I would imagine with some traction control, probably get out of the corners a little quicker. I was getting out, you know, just fine though. Car hooks up really nicely, and I'm really impressed with what they've done with the BMW Z4 GT3 car. Again, I'd like to thank iRacing for letting me run this car and show you guys pre-release, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. Check out our website, our blog. We got blogs going every day at isrtv.com. William Marsh and John Sable are really staying on top of what's going on in the sim racing world, so check that out. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and that's going to wrap it up. I'm Darren Ganji. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.